Who's the most controversial angler of 2024? That's what we're going to talk about right now. Now, before we get started, if you don't know, my name is Steve Chapman. I do Get Your Fish On. This is my channel. And I've been part of the industry since before 2009. That's when I started the radio show. And before that, I did graphics. And since then, I've seen or went through the split, been through COVID and seen the ups and downs. And now this past year in 2024, I found that there was a lot of controversy and a lot of pettiness. And I'm not sure if it isn't jealousy with some people, but these are some of the anglers that had a bit of controversy running through their lives in 2024. Now, was James Watson the most controversial? Was Trait Zaldain? And I'm going to put Trait in there also. Was Trey McKinney or JT Thompkins? Was it Randy Blockett, Jacob Wheeler, or Dunstin Connell? Those are the 7 anglers we're going to talk about in this video because I think they had a little bit of controversy going on throughout the year. But let's first start off by removing a few of the anglers. Jacob Wheeler and Dunstin Connell. Jacob had that issue with blocking that guy during the year. Dustin did really well. Jacob won Angler of the Year. When you start winning as many tournaments as these two guys do, you're going to catch a lot of grief. But in comparison to the others, while they might have a little bit of controversy going in their lives and in their fishing career, I think we can rule them out right off the top. The next person I think we can rule out is James Watson. Now, I think James probably had one of the biggest stories of the year with his departure from the BPT. However, James speaks his mind. He is very passionate about where he is in this industry. He is very controversial with the way he talks, so is a lot of people, and the way that in his opinion. But I think, as much as I think he had one of the biggest stories of the year, I do think that James can be ruled out as the most controversial. Here's where you can do me a favor. Click that button, click subscribe, and tell me in the comments below who you think is the most controversial. So comment below and tell me why. Next is Trait Zaldain, and I'm going to lump Trait in with him. Trait and Chris have been very controversial this year with their Zaldangerous podcast and their Twitter and their social media presence. Chris also had that run-in with that fan during the year that still to this day, I don't think he said sorry. He still believes he was right. I do not believe he was right at all. But Chris and Trait stirred the pot a lot this year. And in Trait's case, I don't want to take her side because there's a lot of people who dislike her. There's a lot to be said for her speaking up for her husband, right or wrong. She is in the know way more than a lot of us. And she's hearing it not only from Chris, but from other anglers and forming her opinion on that. And there's nothing wrong with having an opinion. It's just how we put it out there or how we react to people who don't have the same opinion. That's where I think they get more controversy on. Their podcast and their beliefs are perfectly fine. We can all agree to disagree. But how we act and react to those disagreements is how we grow as a society and as a person. But I'm ruling out Chris and Trait in this conversation. Next is Randy Blockett. Now, Randy, I give it up for Randy. I know there's a lot of people that love Randy, and there's a lot of people that dislike Randy. Randy is a polarizing person. His thoughts and his takes on forward-facing technology are amongst the strictest of everybody. And he's made lots of videos on it. But where I give Randy credit for is, as a content creator, you go through lulls as you go through the year. It's tough to do this every year, day after day after day. And Randy comes up with 2, sometimes 3 topics a day to talk about his plight against either forward-facing technology or things that he has seen in the industry because he has been a professional angler for a long time. And his opinion should be respected in a lot of cases. But I am ruling out Randy in this too. And I should say, speaking up for what you feel is right for the technology against the technology or for conservation doesn't mean that you're the most controversial. Next is JT Thompkins. We all know JT got disqualified. He made some videos. His dad made a video. He wants to prove his innocence in that disqualification. And when that disqualification happened, I would have said he was really close on the line to maybe being the most controversial angler of 2024. But JT's just a great angler. Had one bad tournament, still qualified for the Classic. But I think you have to have many things in the works to be most controversial. And that leads us to Trey McKinney, who I do believe was the most controversial angler of 2024. Now, I want to make this very clear. The controversy that surrounded him, and still is there, is of his doing. He is very young, and we have to remember that in a lot of cases. It was his first year on the elites. And here's why I think Trey is the most controversial for 2024. First off, we had the run-in with Gerald Swindle. We had cutting down of trees during the year. We had the phone call from mom because he was late. We had numerous penalties. And not only did he win Rookie of the Year, he was one spot away from making Angler of the Year. And I think that in Trey's case, everybody was watching everything that he did. And if he wasn't doing real well, or he was in the middle of the pack, it might have gone unnoticed. But because he was fishing so well, because he knew the technology and just was able to get information when he was allowed to get information. And I think that all kept building up on Trey as the year went on. And while he stayed quiet, and I respect that, not coming out and talking about it and defending himself probably would have been better in the eyes of a lot of anglers. And again, he's young. He needs to learn how to do things his way. But I do believe Trey was the most controversial angler of 2024. Who do you think was the most controversial angler? Comment below and tell me what you think. Thanks again to everybody. Blew up. Another unbelievable month in December. I mean, we're in December now and the numbers are up. Page views are up, reviews are up, everything is up. So I really appreciate it. I can't say thank you enough. So thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to the members who get to see the videos ahead of time. And thank you to all the people who comment over there all the time. I really respect you. And I really appreciate all that you've done. So thank you. But let's keep it up. We have a goal. We're not at that goal yet. So if you're not a subscriber, click that button. Help me get one place more in that subscription field and where I'm trying to go. And thank you. Remember, take your kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.